So, we hatch a batch of eggs in the lab.
And where'd you get
From the poultry breeders who supplied them to the battery.
Oh, the intensive.
Yes. Or some of them might go to the farm. But either way,
So either way, they're going to be
Yes, by 12 weeks they'll be plucked and lying on their backs.
in a supermarket.
on your table.
So you're not taking the life.
I am taking the life.
But even if you didn't, they'd be.
They wouldn't live to old chickens, no.
So you've got the chickens and.
About a day old, fluffy yellow like little Easter.
And you do some experiment on them.
What we do is we get them to peck.
Because chicks do peck a lot.
They peck at everything, and what we do is we get them to peck at beads that have been dipped in either water or some stuff that tastes bitter.
Not poison.
No, it makes them wipe their beaks on the floor, and then they're fine again. And of course, we're writing this all down. Which chick, which bead, and how many pecks. And then, my colleague injects them with a tiny amount of a very slightly radioactive liquid into each side of the chick's brain. So,
Oh no, stop.
I know, but they don't seem
Doesn't
to
hurt.
they don't show any.
Okay, so what's it for? It's going to show up something in their brains.
Because what we've injected has a sugar in it that gets used by the nerve cells, and the more sugar is taken up, the more brain activity. And the radioactivity acts as a tracer, like in a scanner, so you can measure that and see exactly where in the brain the
And
sugar.
the idea is it's different in the
What we hope is you see that it's different.
depending on what they've learned about.
Yes, because we give them the beads again, and then they've learned, because the ones who like beads with the water come back and peck it again, and the ones.
They won't peck it.
The ones that had the bitter beads have learned not to peck it.
That's terrific.
But that's not what we're finding out. What we're finding out.
Changes in the brain.
Exactly. What changes in the brain correspond to that memory?
So to do that, you have to.
Yes, I hold the bird in my left hand and quickly cut off its head with a big pair of scissors.
Ah,
And I drop the body in a bucket and take the head and peel back the skin and cut around the skull and there's the brain.
So I put it in a dish of ice and my colleague cuts it into slabs with a razor blade. Then he dissects out a tiny sample and he puts it into test tubes and they're immediately frozen while meanwhile I'm taking the brain out of the next chick.
And that's what I do.
and then you analyse.
And there is a substantial increase.
So you can measure.
What's the increase? But exactly where? Because if you slice
Slice the brain.
Slice the frozen brain into thin sections and put them on the sides, you get
You
pictures.
can see.
you can see exactly, depending on how dark, and you can convert it into a false colour, which of course looks prettier.
Prettier, yes. And easier to read, though the information is the same.
Which is.
But the learning takes place on the left side of the brain.
And you can see.
And there's another version, where you stain the sample with a silver and then you count the loose spines on the dentures, which are...
Yes, the little tiny.
At that degree of magnification, a thumbnail would be 250 meters wide.
So you can see the memory.
Yes, you can see the actual changes.
See what the chick learned about the bead.